Serious and Silliness Bodybuilding. I'm your host, John Livia. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button. Make comments. Let me know what you think. Hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the content that I'm putting out for you guys. Okay. This is going to be a review of the Dave Palumbo documentary, Jumbo Palumbo. I watched it last night. I got comfortable. You can go watch it on his RX Muscle channel. It's there. Okay. I want to tell you to go and watch it. I'm going to give you my opinion, but don't take my word for it. Go and watch it for yourself. Okay. If you're a Dave Palumbo fan or a bodybuilding fan, you're going to love it no matter what. Right. But here is what I think about it. It was okay. It was average. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a 5. And the reason why is because it really wasn't a documentary. It was really just a 45, 50-minute interview of Dave. I mean, yeah, they asked him questions in his house, and they asked him questions in the gym, and they asked him questions in his snake pit. They asked him questions in his office, in his studio, and he was just answering questions. And they followed him around. They probably shot this thing in like 48 hours. Okay. It was all right. It was okay. Now, I enjoyed it because I am a Dave Palumbo fan, but I have to take my emotions out of it. You see, growing up in New York, Dave Palumbo was like a fixture in the bodybuilding scene. He was larger than life. People couldn't believe that an amateur bodybuilder was this huge, over 300 pounds, shredded, unbelievable, freaky looking, right? He really encompassed what 90s bodybuilding was like, just huge and freaky and monster, and so on and so forth. And if you were in the bodybuilding scene and you in the late 90s, early 2000s, and you lived in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, you knew who he was. He was everywhere. He was guest posing. He was doing conferences. He was at all the shows. He would you could walk up to him and just ask him questions about bodybuilding. He would talk to you. It was no, and plus he's a wealth of knowledge, and I always respected how much knowledge he had. I still to this day watch Ask Dave because there's just so much knowledge that he puts out there, right? That being said, I have to put my emotions aside and tell you that the documentary was average. It was okay. It was nothing really to brag about. Okay. Now, here are the good parts. The good parts are the high definition cinematography, fantastic. The editing, fantastic. Okay. Lighting, things like that, fantastic. Here's why I think it's average. And again, this is just my opinion. I want you to go and watch it yourself and then let me know what your opinion is. Come back and comment and so on and so forth. Okay. They didn't really do an all encompassing story about Dave Palumbo. Like, you could have went back to where he grew up in Long Island. You could have went back to the gym where he started training. You could have spoke to guys like Steve Weinberg and what he thought about him. You could have spoke about guys like Tony Freeman, who beat him to turn, I believe he beat him to turn pro. You could have spoke to his sister about how it affected the family when he decided he was going to drop out of medical school and pursue bodybuilding, because he said that he was basically, since he was a kid, his parents wanted him to be a doctor from a little boy. And his mother actually passed away from cancer. You could have interviewed his peers. Jimmy Pelletier was his workout partner. You could have interviewed a childhood friend. He did talk about how he went to prison for selling steroids, which is very commendable. He was very honest about that. I would have liked to heard maybe a cellmate of his or somebody that was in prison with him, or maybe a guard or warden, what it was like to be in prison with Dave Palumbo. Because the reason why good documentaries do this is because it either validates or it doesn't validate what the person is saying, right? If you watch a good documentary and they interview the person and the person says A, B, and C, and then they edit to another person, like maybe his sister or something like that, and she says the same exact thing, it validates the truth behind what he's saying. Because sometimes there's two sides to every story. Sometimes there's three sides to a story. Sometimes it's exaggerated. Sometimes people like to, you know, fib or make themselves look like the victim, right? Now, I'm not saying that that's what Dave did. All I'm saying is that when you interview peers and people that were close to him, people that grew up around him, you get to know the person even better than just a straight interview. And this basically what it was a straight interview. Now, listen, I know it's a small production company and I know the budget was probably an issue. Okay. I get it. I fully get it. That being said, it was still just okay. It was still just average. Now, toward the end, when he talked about his mom and then his mom passing on cancer, when he talked about his kids, when he talked about what his legacy was, when he talked about when he had to fight through cancer, when he had thyroid cancer, those parts were emotional, and you feel for Dave. You know, he even says that he does not want to talk about his wife, because of the divorce and so on and so forth. He goes into it very, very little. And you really feel for him because you could see, even though he kind of doesn't go into it, you could see he's hurting from that separation. And you really feel for him. You really feel emotional for him. That part is very emotional. It's very sad. But that being said, I mean, let's face it. They could have did a hell of a lot better of a job. Now, it's not a knock. Okay, it's just my opinion. All you guys may have loved it. You guys may have come back and say, John, you're crazy. I loved it. I thought it was great. It was all about Dave, so on and so forth. Now, there was some funny parts, right? There was like a scene where a snake gets loose in his snake pit. I call it a snake pit. I don't know what else you want to call it. It's a garage where a bunch of snakes are. I don't know what else you want to call it. One of the snakes gets loose and they're looking for it, right? And you're all like, oh, God, what the hell is this freaking snake? And they finally find it. There was a couple of then they got it. They got into what Palumboism is, his extended gut, and so on and so forth, and his explanation as to why that happened to him so severely. Okay, they get into that. There was some. There was one part where he fell asleep and he was just snoring. That was funny. Okay, yeah, there was some funny aspects to it. But again, as documentaries go, I would have liked to have heard from a lot of other people, peers, family members, um, guys that he does the show with, like Chris Aceto. I would have loved to have seen what Chris Aceto thought of him because Aceto was in the bodybuilding world at that time. You know, he was coaching, Jay Cutler and, so on and so forth. I would have loved to know what his explanation was why Dave could never turn pro. I would have liked to know how Dave truly felt that he couldn't get his pro card. I mean, he's probably at ease with it now, but back then, I would have really loved to know what he felt inside because he was really fighting to get his pro card. And there was a couple of times where he came in second, and today that would have qualified him to get a pro card at a national level show. But back then, it didn't. You had to win. And believe me, there were no masters. There was only one category, bodybuilding. And if you didn't win, you didn't get a card. That was it. That's it. If you did the USA's, only the overall winner got a card. If you did the nationals, only the winner of each weight division got a card. That was it. There wasn't even as many national level shows as they are now, right? Back then there wasn't as many national level shows. They didn't have the Arnold Amateur or the Olympia Amateur or anything like that, right? I don't think they had Team Universe back then. If they did, it was probably, I think, you know what? I think back then Team Universe was like this drug-free show or something like that, but they didn't have that back then. Anyway, that being said, that's my basic review of Jumbo Palumbo. Now, I liked it because it was Dave Palumbo, and I'm a Dave Palumbo fan. But I have to, like I said before, when I am critiquing something, whether it is a bodybuilder, and even if I'm friends with him, or even if I respect him, I have to give you my honest opinion. And my honest opinion about Jumbo Palumbo is it was okay. But I want you guys to go and watch it. Go watch it and let me know what you guys think, okay? And I want you to comment and let me know. I might be crazy. Guys might be like, John, you are out of your mind. That was a great documentary. We loved it. Whatever. Or you might agree with me. You might be like, hey, look, you could have did a lot better job. They could have did a lot better job, excuse me. So let me know. Again, go watch it. RX Muscle, Jumbo Palumbo. All right, guys. Later. Peace.